Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching Super 6 here on India Today. I'm Akshata Nandagopal. Over the next 60 minutes, the top 6 stories of the day coming your way. Let's begin by giving you a quick teaser of what to expect over the next 1 hour. Story number 1, our top focus here on Super 6 is the Karnataka Caste Census showdown. Tomorrow is the state cabinet meet and Chief Minister Siddaramaiah finds himself in a real pickle as you've got several Congress leaders, senior ministers all revolting openly at that against the plans of a caste census. What really will this mean for the Congress? How will they douse this fire? We'll be talking all about that. Also coming up on Super 6 this evening at 6:30 p.m, we'll be talking about the fight between the Congress and the ED with the Enforcement Directorate charge sheeting Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi in the National Herald case. You've got the Congress hitting the streets of the national capital, planning pan-India protests. Their crime political conspiracy. Will get you all of those reactions and a detailed ground report. And speaking of political conspiracy, story number 3 on Super 6 is on Robert Vadra. Robert Vadra has been questioned by the Enforcement Directorate for a second time today. And this time, Priyanka Gandhi stood symbolically by her husband, giving him a hug as he entered the ED office and as he exited for lunch as well. Money laundering charge against the Gandhis, money laundering charge against Robert Vadra. Story number 4 on Super 6 is on the Tamil Nadu Game of Thrones, with the AIADMK and the BJP sealing the deal, confirming there's an alliance. EPS seems to have thrown a spanner in the works, claiming that there will be no coalition government in Tamil Nadu. What really does that mean? Was that part of the deal that BJP agreed to? Story number 5 on Super 6. We'll be talking about the big BlueSmart controversy. Yes, the very popular cab service, the promoters of the same are in trouble as the Jaggi brothers have been accused of a bank loot, taking a loan for the company but spending it for personal use. We'll break down those details for you. And finally, on Super 6, our daily report on what's really happening in the Indian Premier League. So all of the cricketing action coming your way as always at 6:45 p.m. here on Super 6. All right, so let's get started with the Karnataka caste conundrum that Chief Minister Siddaramaiah faces. An announcement was made, a big bang one, by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah that he's going to go ahead with a caste census. It's one of the promises, of course, and one of the biggest talking points for the Congress, not just in Karnataka, but across the nation. But clearly, Siddaramaiah didn't expect the backlash that is playing out right now. And he's firefighting an all-out revolt and rebellion. You've got senior Congress ministers, one after another, speaking out right now, questioning what is the need for this caste census, questioning details of the report that have been leaked about the numbers of the Vokkaligas, the Lingayats, or for that matter, the proposed quota breakup right now. So this is a fire that Siddaramaiah is battling along with DK Shivkumar, who's facing now a flack from his own community, from the Vokkaligas. We'll break that down for you bit by bit as to why these communities are upset. Let's begin with one of those communities, the influential Lingayat community. Why are they miffed? Why are they upset? Listen into this.
Akhila Bharata Veerashaiva Lingayata Mahasabhayagali ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗ ಸಂಘವಾಗಲಿ ಈ ಜಾತಿ ಜನಗಣತಿಯನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಪಾರದರ್ಶಕತೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಅಪವಾದ ಇದೆ. ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕುಳಿತು ಈ ವರದಿಯನ್ನು ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಮೂಗಿನ ನೇರಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರುಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದು ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇದು ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಪುನರ್ವಿಮರ್ಶೆಯಾಗಿ ಜಾತಿ ಜನಗಣತಿಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನ್ಯಾಯಸಮ್ಮತವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ನಿರ್ಣಯವನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದೀತು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಭಾವನೆ ಇದೆ.
So the Lingayats, hugely influential community in Karnataka, clearly upset. And they're saying that this is going to backfire on the Congress. Then you have the Vokkaligas, the same caste group that DK Shivkumar belongs to, has revolted in how DK Shivkumar met with some Vokkaliga MLAs to kind of reach out, reassure the community. So far, it's not working.
ಈಗ ನಾವು 17ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಏನು ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಇದನ್ನು ಜಾರಿ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಅವರು ಖಂಡಿತ ಅಂತ ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಉಗ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಡೀ ರಾಜ್ಯಾದ್ಯಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಜನಾಂಗದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಏನು ಸಂಘ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಯವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ನಾವು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಏನು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತೊಗೊಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡು
ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಹುಡುಕತ್ತವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವರೇ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಡೊಂಗ್ ನಡೆದಾರ. ಮೇಜರ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿಗಳು ಇರೋ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಾಗ ವೀರ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗರು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ. ಇವೆರಡನ್ನ ಎದುರು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಜಭಾರಿ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತ ನೋಡ.
ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗರು ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಂಗಾಯತರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಅದೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಸೇರಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರವಾಗಿ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಸೇರಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ರಾಜಭಾರಿ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಂಬಿಡು.
ಸಭೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಸರ್? ವೀರಶೈವ ಲಿಂಗಾಯತ
ನಮ್ಮ ಸಭೆ ನಡೆದತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ.
Open revolt by caste communities, and these are very influential groups. They are serious, very influential. Again, when they speak against a party, it spells bad news for the political party. And if this isn't bad enough, now there are also Congress leaders openly speaking out against the caste census and saying it plain and simple, that this will spell doom for the Congress. Senior-most leaders speaking out one after another, clearly miffed by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's idea. Listen in.
JDS and BJP people, they are asking for resurvey, and Mr. Vijayendra yesterday or day for yesterday, he suggested to throw that to dustbin. See, last 4 years, from 19 to 23, who ruled this state? Who nominated? Kantraju nominated by Congress government, and Mr. Hegde nominated by BJP government. What they were doing 4 years and 1 year coalition government, totally 5 years, JDS, BJP. What were they doing? Why they have not gone through all these things?
ಈಗ ಅವ್ರ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ನಾಳೆ ಇವರು 5 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಓದ್ಕೊಬರಿ ಅಂತ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಇದು ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ.
ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶಾಸಕರು ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಅನೇಕ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಳಿಸಿ, ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಜನರ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಇದ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೋ, ಏನು ವಾಸ್ತವಾಂಶ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಧ್ವನಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಡಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ನನಗೇನೋ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಗೌಪ್ಯ. ಅದು ಕೆಲವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳು ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ನಾವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ದು ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀವು ಆಫ್ ದಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಗೂ.
So why are these two communities, the Vokkaligas and Lingayat, so angry over the caste census? What do they stand to lose? Let's break down for you what's shown in the leaked report that's got the Vokkaligas upset. First, the Vokkaligas. What's shown in the report is that they represent 12.2% of the population. So the current quota that the Vokkaligas enjoy as an SC group is 4%. The proposed quota, as per the report, is 7%. So when the quota is going up from 4% to 7%, why is the community miffed? They have a problem with their mention in the report of 12.2%. They're saying our numbers are much higher than that. So they feel that they've been underrepresented essentially. And it's exactly the same grouse that the Lingayats have. What's shown in the report for the Lingayats is that they represent 13.6% of the population. The Lingayat community believes that their numbers much higher than that. Currently, they have a quota of 5%. And much like the Vokkaligas, for them too, the proposed quota in the report is going up from 5%. It goes up by 3% to 8%, which means you'd think that the Lingayats are celebrating. But again, their grouse is this. They feel that their numbers are being hugely underrepresented in the report. They're saying we're much higher than just 13.6% of the population. Remember that the Lingayats and the Vokkaligas were the most dominant caste group in Karnataka. Based on this report, they no longer are the most dominant caste group, which is why they are upset. Let me bring in Sagaraj. He's joining us live from Bengaluru with the latest updates on this. Sagar, tomorrow is the Karnataka cabinet meet. The Karnataka Congress seems to be firefighting a revolt within, outside and whatnot. So what's the strategy of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah? How is he going to respond to all of this criticism? If he goes ahead with the caste census, it's going to be an absolute storm that he'll face, because this is just based on a report that there's so much outrage.
One of the positive things which will work for Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is that he is identified as a crusader or a person from backward class community, a leader, mass leader from backward class community. And two, he have also promised in the manifesto that once the Congress come back to power, they will try and implement the socio-economic survey. And three, the High Command will support Siddaramaiah. Remember, all this decision of bringing in the cabinet, presenting in the cabinet came only after the Gujarat Congress convention meeting. So the High Command have asked Siddaramaiah to go ahead with that. And subsequently, Siddaramaiah, who came from Gujarat, immediately started to implement. And what are the setbacks that he is going to face? Top leaders, from DK Shivkumar to Lingayat leaders, everybody are unhappy, where they are alleging that this particular survey which was being done was unscientific. The data which is being collected is irrational. They feel that many of the people who have done this particular survey have not come to their house and they have not collected the data. And the BJP on the other side allege that the Karnataka Congress government is doing to appease one particular community by increasing the number. And they are targeting Muslim community, stating that this Karnataka Congress government, they want to show Muslims as one of the majority communities along with the backward class. And that is the reason they are going ahead with this particular survey. And they have also demanded that if at all, if you go according to the socio-economic survey, you should go ahead and give minority tag to Lingayats. So the Lingayats are not unhappy, saying that it will change the political dynamics in the state. Even the Vokkaliga leaders are also
and let's just talk about the Vokkaliga community. Sagai, just stay with me. Why is it that the Congress, this could spell bad news for the Congress, is because the Vokkaligas matter for the party. And here's why. It's a dominant political group that holds a huge sway on which way really the election can go. In Karnataka, particularly the SC votes and even otherwise, the Vokkaligas will essentially decide, and it's not an exaggeration to say that, they decide which way an election goes. They account for 10% of the population in Karnataka at this point, and of course, with further census, you'll know whether those numbers have actually increased or not. Vokkaliga votes. There's an active race between the Congress and the JDS. For long, it was the JDS bastion. The Congress has made inroads in the Vokkaliga vote bank. And so they want to keep that going. Something like this, something like a caste census could dent them. And it will mean advantage JDS then. The Vokkaliga group is dominant in South Karnataka. And you've got, of course, leaders like DK Shivkumar, one of the most prominent Vokkaliga leaders of the Congress. And in 2023, in the last assembly elections in Karnataka, the Vokkaligas actually voted in favor of the Congress. Like I said, switching over from the JDS to the Congress. And so the Congress could lose out on this crucial vote bank if they continue along this road of a caste census, particularly when several representatives of the community have spoken out against it, have opposed it. Let's just run you through again, when we talk about why Vokkaliga matters, the influence that they hold on seats in Karnataka. Of the 224 legislative seats in Karnataka, in 44, the Vokkaliga has a huge say. And just look at those numbers. This is what I was talking about with the JDS Congress swing. From 11 in 2018, a 25% vote share, That number went subsequently up for the Congress to 29 in 2023. So 66% is how it jumped up. That's huge for the Congress, one of the deciding factors of what ensured their massive win in the 2023 elections. And it was at the cost of the JDS, because the JDS from 24 jumped down to 10, from 55% of the vote share of Vokkaligas to 23. The BJP has never really had much of an influence, but from 8 they went down to 4. So it's about that number. Imagine that, 29 seats of, in fact, the Vokkaliga influenced dominated areas went to the Congress in 2023. And this is the very community that they could now be going ahead and upsetting with this caste census. Besides that, let's also talk about the representation that we're looking at as far as Lingayats go. And I highlighted for you how Lingayats also are currently opposing the caste census. Lingayats matter in 70 out of the 224 seats. And if you look at really the breakdown there of the Lingayat influence seats, a comparison directly of 2018 and 2023, this is again a community that voted overwhelmingly in favor of the Congress. Again, compare what happened previously in 2018 to 2023. From 21, it became 44. The JDS jumped down. The BJP was cut by half from 10 to 5. And the Lingayats, of course, can sway any way, which is why the Congress will want to hold on to this vote bank. Very difficult now with a caste census that's not got the Lingayat community happy. So these are two communities that chose the Congress in 2023, but could pose a challenge now post this. But let's also talk about representation of really these communities and how these castes voted in Karnataka. When you look at the vote share itself, now 27% as far as Vokkaligas go voted for Congress in 2018. That went up to 49%. A direct comparison there shows you how the largest number has been to the Congress as far as Vokkaligas go. And then at BJP at 24%, and finally the JDS, which is a big fall for them because they were once considered to be the favorite of the Vokkaligas. Similarly, for Lingayats, you'll see a similar trend. 18% to 29% for the Congress, overwhelmingly in their favor. The BJP went down 61% to 56%. And this was a big setback for the BJP because they always aim for this vote bank, for this community. The JDS also dropped from 11% to 9%. The BJP will look at increasing that figure, and how? At the cost of the Congress. So if this 29% shifts away from the Congress and comes to the BJP, it could spell trouble for the Congress. And they will be looking at ensuring that that doesn't happen. One big factor in that will be how they respond to this caste census. Representation matters for the Congress. The fact that you're seeing an open revolt right now is because of the numbers, the number of representatives that they have from the Vokkaliga community as well as the Lingayat community. And just look at that. This is just the Congress numbers, by the way, where you've got Vokkaligas having 17% representation in their MLA list, Lingayats at 25%, and then you see the rest of the breakdown. Those two communities right on top, you see that there's been a subsequent increase in the numbers, and despite that, you've got now all of this churn happening, perhaps because of the fact that they have a huge representation of these two communities. You've got more and more Congress leaders speaking out right now against any talk of a caste census, saying it is hugely, hugely unfair. So these are the numbers really that matter as far as both the parties go. And the caste-wise Karnataka MLAs, if we were to break that down for you as well, you can see for the BJP, the representation is largely from the Vokkaliga community. From 8%, it jumped up to 17% after the 2023 election. So they will be looking at growth in the Vokkaliga vote bank, the vote base as well. Lingayats, it's come down. And remember that the Lingayats was one of the core voter base for the BJP. So they will be looking at kind of making the most of all this anger over the caste census here too. Let me bring in Sagai on this. Sagai, you look at these numbers of why there's a revolt within the Congress. It's clear because of the kind of representation they have of the Lingayats and the Vokkaligas. Having said that, Sagai, I'm sure Chief Minister Siddaramaiah would have seen this coming. So why did he suddenly make this push for a caste census out of the blue after so many years?
As I told you earlier that this particular decision from Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah to go ahead with the socio-economic survey, or largely known as caste census, came up only after the Gujarat convention. Immediately after that, he started to make moves, and much before that, it was in the shelf. The Congress was reluctant to take this forward. But immediately after he got a green signal from the High Command, he was all pumped up. Remember, He's been considered as a mass leader among backward class, and he wants to show that he's one of those mass leaders who want to implement this socioeconomic survey as a socioeconomic survey, definitely showing the positive signs, as also OBC, which has an upper hand in this entire survey. So he want to implement that. Yes, there is opposition from Vokkaliga and Lingayat leaders themselves. The
Telangana factor here. You know, there are some reports that suggest that there's a Telangana factor, there's a Revanth Reddy factor, and there was pressure from the High Command because Siddaramaiah felt that, you know, Revanth Reddy was being praised for having implemented the caste census in neighboring Telangana. Was it that pressure that essentially weighed on him?
Absolutely, even that pressure, as well as the High Command, which has insisted him, saying that we are the people who are working for backward class. Why are you not even trying to implement? Why there is a roadblock for you? So these were the issues which have been addressed, and the High Command has given a free hand to him. And that is the reason he's taking this forward in the state of Karnataka.
All right, Sagai, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Tomorrow is the state cabinet meet. So let's see what really plays out. Will the government backtrack? Will they manage to kind of reassure all these groups that are discontent? Let's just run you through the proposed quota reject. If the cabinet okays the report on really the caste census and the changes in quota, what will it look like? For backward classes, the current quota is 4%. The report has suggested that that be increased to 6%, 2% increase there. For OBCs, other backward classes, from 15% to 22%. This also includes, by the way, an introduction of a new category, a subcategory. So overall, 22%. Muslims, identified by the panel as the largest community in Karnataka, and therefore from 4%, they've suggested that the quota increase to 8%, double it essentially for Muslims. Let's talk about Vokkaligas. Like I told you, for the Vokkaligas too, there is an increase proposed by the panel from 4% to 7%. Similarly, for Lingayats also, the panel has proposed that the number goes up from 5% to 8%. Despite that, there's anger because they say that our numbers haven't been adequately represented. So what that means is the total current quota for BCs and OBCs is at 32%. If the panel report is accepted, the revised quota for OBCs and backward classes will stand at 51%. What this change means is that overall reservation in Karnataka will go up to 85%. And then, of course, there's a question of whether it will stand the scrutiny of the courts. Karnataka is the latest in a long list of states that have gone ahead and actually implemented the caste census. Karnataka, they still talk about whether it will happen. In Bihar, a caste survey has already been completed. It happened a few years ago. Telangana, it's ongoing. The Revanth government has got the wheels moving on that, even approving this census. So step further than Karnataka. Andhra Pradesh, years ago, was already approved. So we'll have to see how really it goes forward under Chandrababu Naidu. In Karnataka now, as we told you, the cabinet will be discussing the same tomorrow with the panel report already with the government. The EDs filed a charge sheet against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, referring to Sonia Gandhi as accused number 1 and Rahul Gandhi as A2, accused number 2 in the National Herald case. It snowballed, obviously, into a massive controversy, with the Congress calling it an example of vendetta politics, the BJP terming Sonia and Rahul Gandhi as the biggest looters. Our next report tells you about all the reactions that have come in and the protests staged by the Congress today.
Congress workers hit the streets across the nation in protest against the charge sheet filed against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi in the National Herald takeover case. In the national capital, protesters breached barricades, shouting slogans against the central agency, and confronted the police. Many were detained by the police. Many Congress leaders, including Sachin Pilot, joined the party workers in the protest on Wednesday.
पूरे प्रकरण में कोई ट्रांजैक्शन, कोई लेन देन, कोई पैसा, एक नए रुपए का कोई लेन देन हुआ नहीं है, कोई पैसा निकाला नहीं गया है। कांग्रेस लीडरशिप ने लगभग 100 साल पहले इसकी परिकल्पना की थी और कांग्रेस पार्टी की विचारधारा से जुड़ा पूरा प्रकरण है। इसमें ये कहना कि नॉन प्रॉफिट एक एंटिटी है, उसमें कोई किसी ने कोई तनख्वाह, कोई पैसा, कोई बेचना खरीदना कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है, तो मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग कहां से आ गया? ये तो एक पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड केस है जिसको एजेंसीज प्रूव करना चाहती हैं।
The ED in his charge sheet has named Sonia Gandhi as accused number 1 and Rahul Gandhi as accused number 2. Gandhi family loyalist Sam Pitroda and Suman Dubey are also accused in the case. The ED has accused the Gandhis of money laundering, tax evasion and financial irregularities in the takeover of Associated Journals Limited by the Young Indian, the private firm controlled by Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi.
ये डेमोक्रेसी की हत्या करने के काम करते हैं बार बार, तो ये इनका विश्वास था नहीं डेमोक्रेसी के अंदर। इस प्रकार की जो इन्होंने अप्रोच रखी है वो बहुत खतरनाक अप्रोच है। सब जगह ये इस प्रकार से हरकतें करते हैं, दबाव देते हैं अधिकारियों पर, अधिकारियों को मजबूरी में आकर के रेड करनी पड़ती है। ये झूठा, बिल्कुल झूठा केस है, कुछ दम नहीं है। पूछताछ पहले हो चुकी है 3-3, 4-4 दिन तक।
सोनिया जी राहुल गांधी बेल पर हैं। इन्होंने पूरी कार्रवाई को क्वाश करने के लिए हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का दरवाजा खटखटाया और कोई राहत नहीं मिली। तो जो चीज 4 साल से चल रही है, जिसमें आप संतोषजनक जवाब नहीं दे पाए, जहां कानून अपना काम कर रहा है, वहां पर कर रहे हैं वेंडेटा।
BJP supporters put up posters in Mumbai demanding bulldozer action against properties linked to the National Herald case. With Shivani Sharma, Anmol Bali, Rahul Gautam, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's cut across to breaking news coming in. Robert Vadra, after day 2 of questioning, has left from the Enforcement Directorate office. Remember that he faces a money laundering allegation in a 2008 Haryana land deal case, over which he was summoned by the Enforcement Directorate yesterday and questioned once again today. From this morning, Robert Vadra being questioned for about 6 hours and counting. At this point, he's just left the ED office. Interestingly, today, you had Priyanka Gandhi Vadra dropping off her husband at the ED office. And we also saw that moment when she gave him a quick hug, almost as a message of solidarity, an important symbolism essentially from Priyanka Gandhi there, sending out a message that she stands by her husband even as he faces charges of money laundering. Interestingly, it's the same charge of money laundering against the Gandhis in the National Herald case, the same charge of money laundering against Robert Vadra. 2 different cases, however. While the Gandhis is a National Herald case, here is a 2008 land deal case where Robert Vadra bought a 3.5-acre piece of land in Gurugram, sold it in a matter of 5 months with a 700% increase. He bought the land for 7 crores, sold it for 58 crores. All of this in a matter of 5 months. And so there were questions about whether this was an attempt at laundering money, which is what Robert Vadra has been questioned over. The second day of questioning, again, the ED grilling largely lasting for about 6 hours. Let me bring in Arvind Oja for the latest updates. Arvind, Robert Vadra's day 2 of questioning, क्या जानकारी मिली है questioning के बारे में?
देखिए, अभी पूछताछ खत्म हुई है रॉबर्ट वाड्रा से और रॉबर्ट वाड्रा अपने घर के लिए निकल गए हैं और सोर्सेज ने बताया है कि कल भी ईडी ने पूछताछ के लिए बुलाया है और कल रॉबर्ट वाड्रा 11 बजे सुबह फिर ईडी के इसी दफ्तर में आएंगे पूछताछ के लिए। रॉबर्ट वाड्रा से तकरीबन अब तक कल अगर बात की जाए तो तकरीबन 5 घंटे की और आज लगभग 5 घंटे की पूछताछ, यानी 10 घंटे से ज्यादा की पूछताछ 2 दिन में हो चुकी है। उनसे पूछा जा रहा है गुरुग्राम में जो लैंड डील हुई थी उसके बारे में और साथ ही साथ रॉबर्ट वाड्रा से ईडी जानना चाहती है कि जो आपने जमीन खरीदी थी उसका लैंड यूज किस तरह से चेंज हुआ, किस तरह से चेंज कराया गया, उसको लेकर खासतौर से ईडी का फोकस है। उस बारे में लगातार जो रॉबर्ट वाड्रा है उनसे पूछताछ की जा रही है। और साथ ही साथ मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा ईडी का ये जो ऑफिस है, कैमरामैन मनीष जरा दिखाएंगे, ये जो ईडी का ऑफिस है यहीं पर सुबह आए थे और मॉर्निंग में प्रियंका गांधी वाड्रा वो भी साथ।
These are the latest images coming in of Robert Vadra leaving from the ED office. We'll wait and see if Robert Vadra chooses to give a reaction to the media, but chaos playing out there outside the ED office as Robert Vadra has left from the ED headquarters. Almost 5 hours of questioning that he's faced, similar to yesterday. Remains to be seen whether tomorrow too Robert Vadra will be summoned by the Enforcement Directorate. But as expected, all right, the breaking news that's just coming in is that Robert Vadra has been summoned yet again. He's been asked to appear before the ED tomorrow as well. So a third day of questioning awaits Robert Vadra tomorrow. He's so far been cooperative with the agency, saying, I will ensure that I turn up when I'm summoned. And so this is the third time that he is being asked to appear before the ED tomorrow. 2 days of non-stop questioning, each lasting about 5+ hours. And again, Robert Vadra being questioned tomorrow by the Enforcement Directorate.
We just saw that.
All right, so we will get you a reaction from Robert Vadra when he chooses to speak. He's maintained, remember, that all of this is nothing but a political conspiracy, that this is vendetta and by the BJP being orchestrated using these agencies. So Robert Vadra defiant in the face of these allegations. Remember today, when he turned up at the Enforcement Directorate office, he was accompanied by his wife, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. But we've got that confirmation that Robert Vadra tomorrow again has been asked to appear before the Enforcement Directorate. Listen in to what Vadra said early this morning, just as he was about to appear before the Enforcement Directorate.
सवाल पूछ रहे हैं, ये इसके जवाब पहले मैंने 2019 में दे दिए हैं। जो चाहे अगर एजेंसी के लोगों ने, जो भी आईओ ऑफिसर है, अगर उन्होंने मना भी किया कि हमने ये सवाल नहीं पूछे, तो मैंने अपनी स्टेटमेंट 2019 की निकलवाई और उनके सामने मैंने दिखाया कि यही सवाल, जो भी ये विषय में आपने बुलाया, इसके सवाल ऑलरेडी हो चुके हैं। तो वो खुद हैरान थे और मैं यही कहूंगा कि एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग हो रहा है। मैं तो जितनी बारी आप मेरे को परेशान करोगे या मतलब कोई भी प्रेशर डालोगे, मैं और उभर के आऊंगा और स्ट्रांग ही बनूंगा। तो टारगेट हो या जो भी है, टारगेट है क्योंकि हम रेलेवेंट हैं, हम लोगों की बात रखते हैं, हम किसी से डरते नहीं है, हम हमेशा लोगों के लिए लड़ते रहेंगे। और संसद में चाहे राहुल को रोका जाए या मुझे बाहर रोका जाए, हम तो लड़ते रहेंगे, सच्चाई के लिए लड़ते रहेंगे और लोगों के लिए लड़ते रहेंगे। तो टारगेट हैं हम जरूर, पर सॉफ्ट टारगेट नहीं है, हम हार्ड टारगेट है और हार्डर।
Let's get you a news break coming in from Tamil Nadu. Days after the AIADMK and BJP sealing the deal, confirming an alliance, Edappadi Palaniswamy has sent across a very cryptic message saying that at no point did the AIADMK talk about a coalition government. EPS very clearly saying that the AIADMK BJP will form the government together, but I am the leader in Tamil Nadu. I will be leading this alliance in the state. Now, sources in the AIADMK have said that the decision on the cabinet will be made after the alliance wins. They're expressing confidence, of course, that they win next year in the Tamil Nadu elections. But EPS, meanwhile, maintaining that there will be no coalition government. The question that's being asked is about whether the BJP is also on board with such a move. Or was this something that Edappadi Palaniswamy has reiterated just now? Listen in to what Amit Shah had said last week when asked about the alliance. He said the two parties would form the government together.
ADMK और भाजपा का ये जो अलायंस का मतलब मिलके राज्य यहाँ पे बनाएंगे, क्या पूछ रहे हैं? सरकार, कोalition सरकार।
जी, हम साथ में सरकार बनाएंगे। हम चुनाव एडापाड़ी जी के नेतृत्व में लड़ेंगे।
अगर जीतेंगे तो भाजपा के जो MLA से ना मंत्री बनेंगे, क्या पूछ रहे हैं?
वो हम जीतने के बाद तय करेंगे। मैं कोई कंफ्यूजन छोड़ना नहीं चाहता। DMK के लिए हम एडापाड़ी जी के नेतृत्व में चुनाव लड़ेंगे।
Let's bring in Pramod Madhav. He's joining us live from Chennai with more details on this. Pramod, how does one really read into this comment from EPS? Is this going to be, somewhat of a surprise for the BJP when he says there will be no coalition government?
Akshita, we're not sure if we can use the word prodigal son, because what happened is that the moment EPS went and met with Amit Shah, whatever EPS want, he started getting right now, because the first and foremost thing is that we cannot call it as a coincidence or sort, but the BJP state president has been changed. The new president is Naina Nagendran, and at the same event, when Amit Shah was speaking about all this, we did put forward these questions about what is going to be the role of AIADMK. Will there be a coalition government? Since in Tamil Nadu, since 1967, there has been no coalition government at all. all. Alliance, yes, but no power sharing. That is a big issue, but for which also Amit Shah gave a cryptic answer saying that first they will win the elections and then they will go ahead and decide on those matters. And he said that he does not want to leave any kind of confusion for DMK. The same thing was reiterated once again by EPS today, because both Dravidian parties, be it DMK or AIADMK, they have not been in favor of coalition. Will AIADMK, in case wins, will it change this particular formula? Is what we put forward as question, for which EPS also very clearly mentioned that all Amit Shah said is that when it comes to NDA, in the national level, PM Modi will lead it, and when it comes to Tamil Nadu, it will be EPS, and that way he ended his answer, Akshita.
All right, Pramod, thanks very much for getting us those details. Let's see how the BJP chooses to respond to this. It's been essentially the BJP High Command, Amit Shah, who's been directly conversing with Edappadi Palaniswamy. So even the state unit right now will be raising questions about what EPS was talking about. Let's move on to a story that shocked us as a country. A disturbing case of a sexual assault that took place in a private hospital in Gurugram. A 46-year-old air hostess was allegedly sexually assaulted by hospital staff. This is while she was admitted in the ICU on a ventilator. According to the survivor's statement, she'd come to Gurugram for some work. She fell ill, was admitted to a private hospital for treatment. She was placed on a ventilator because of her condition. Now, the survivor alleges that during that period, while she was unconscious, unable to speak, she was sexually assaulted by members of the hospital staff. She realized that she was being sexually assaulted, but she couldn't say a word because she was on ventilator support. She also said that she remained silent out of fear and because of her inability to communicate at the time. Upon her discharge from the hospital, she informed her husband about the assault. A complaint was filed and FIR has been registered with the police. The investigation is on. At this point, who are the hospital staff members who've done this? We don't know. But the hospital in question has issued a statement saying it's fully cooperating with the authorities. The National Commission for Women has taken suo motu cognizance of the case and has demanded a detailed report within 3 days. But this is a story really that shocks every single one of us, that a woman isn't safe even in a hospital. She was on ventilator in the ICU, and some monster in that hospital decided to exploit her in that situation.
वो 5 तारीख को एक निजी अस्पताल में दाखिल हुई थी और इलाज के दौरान 6 तारीख को उसके साथ किसी व्यक्ति के द्वारा यौन उत्पीड़न किया गया है। वह वेंटिलेटर पर थी घटना के समय में, और घटना के समय में वो बेहोशी की हालत में थी, और उसके अलावा 2 जो स्टाफ नर्स थी वो उसके आसपास किसी काम को लेकर के आपस में बातचीत कर रही थी। तो फिलहाल जो विक्टिम है उसके द्वारा बताया गया कि वो अनकॉन्शियस थी, और पुलिस के द्वारा जो अस्पताल के आसपास के एरिया की सीसीटीवी फुटेज है घटनास्थल से आसपास की, तो पुलिस के द्वारा प्रॉपर तरीके से चेक की जा रही है और केस की इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जा रही है, और जैसे जैसे सबूत केस में आएंगे उसके अकॉर्डिंग पुलिस एक्ट करेगी।
I want to take this across to Shreya Chatterjee for the latest updates on the investigation. Shreya, have the police officials been able to identify who were these hospital staffers who sexually assaulted this woman while she was in the ICU?
As of now, no, Akshita, but we do know that the CCTV and the other electronic evidence is actually being looked into by the police officers of Sadar Police Station, Gurugram, where the FIR was registered. The woman in concern was in this private hospital between the timeline of 5th of April to the 13th of April. In between, she was actually sexually assaulted while she was in the ventilator. As per her complaint, this was a ward boy in concern. The shocking detail, Akshita, suggests that there were 2 women, a nurse, who were also present while this incident happened with her, and they did not intervene. So clearly shocking details coming in. The hospital in concern, however, suggests that as of now, the allegations haven't been substantiated. This woman in concern was an air hostess trainee. She was undergoing a training session where she drowned in a swimming pool, and subsequently she was admitted in the hospital on the 5th of April. She was discharged on the 13th of April, followed by which she actually made this entire thing before her husband. And then they filed a complaint, and now that is being looked after by the Gurugram police.
And imagine that, Shreya, what you're telling us is that there were nurses actually in the room when this happened, did nothing to stop the sexual assault. Horrifying, really, to even imagine that something like this happened in a private hospital. And like I said, it raises so many questions on whether women are safe in any place at all. in the country. Thanks very much, Shreya, for joining us with those details. This is a story that we will track very closely and get you the updates on. Let's move on also to all of the talk and chatter over BlueSmart. Now, a 978 crore rupees green energy loan meant to electrify India's roads, and we've all heard of the BlueSmart cab service, ended up fueling essentially personal luxuries and corporate deception. Now, SEBI's crackdown on Gensol Engineering has exposed a stunning trail of alleged financial misuse by promoters Anmol Singh Jaggi and Puneet Singh Jaggi, who own BlueSmart. At the core of the scam is a diversion of 262 crores meant to buy 6,400 EVs, electric vehicles, for BlueSmart. It is an EV cab aggregator service, very popular in some of the metro cities. So what was done with that money? 6,400 EVs were meant to be bought. Only 4,704 EVs were actually acquired. The rest of the money allegedly rerouted for personal and family gain. And look at the kind of details. These diverted funds were funneled into luxury real estate, into personal travel, high-end goods, into family accounts, even spent 26 lakhs on a golf set. And these are the kind of expenses that were done using money that was set aside, that was granted for buying electric vehicles for BlueSmart. Over 10 crores went to Gensol Ventures, 6.2 crores to Anmol's mother, 3 crore to his wife. I can go on and on with that list because of the sheer amount of money that we're talking about. Money was also spent on foreign currency, on golf equipment, or personal credit card bills, on luxury retail, 3 lakhs just for personal travel. This investigation has also revealed a web of circular fund flows between related entities. Go Auto, Gensol, EV, Lease, Go Solar, BlueSmart. All of this now is under the scan. And this has raised questions on the future of BlueSmart, the poster boys of India's EV push.